Well, if you enjoyed your bacon and eggs for breakfast or maybe your ham sandwich for lunch, then you might think twice after you meet our next very special four-footed guest. We sent Helen Rosser up to meet Pam Ahern to learn about the conditions that pregnant sows are kept in during their pregnancy, but also to meet the rather delightful Edgar pig.
Pam, could you please start off by just giving us a bit of your background, how you got involved in the animal movement?
Gosh, well that goes back quite a few years, I suppose, to when I was actually a child. I grew up in what's a normal suburban family with 2 cats and a dog, and I always remember each night you'd go to bed and you'd pray for, Ma and Pa and your aunts and uncles and your cats and your dog, but then we were eating them at the same time, and it was a bit of an anomaly, and it was hard to rationalise why I could protect some animals and eat other ones. So I continued eating animals for many years and also caring for other animals, and it was something that I was never happy with, that marriage. And sort of, gosh, I must say it was only in my 20s that I actually made the connection between what I was putting in my mouth and what I was actually caring for. To the pig, to the cat, to the dog, the knife is just as sharp as it is to you and me. And I actually did enjoy the taste of the meat. But the reality was that I couldn't marry the compassion and killing an animal, so I just stopped, and now I campaign for other people to make that connection as well.
So could you tell me how that moved across to the sow stall campaign? I believe you've been working on that for the last 12 months.
The sow stall issue is actually quite what I call a soft option into animal welfare or animal rights matters. Being a vegan now, I thought, how can I actually get other people to make that change as well, really turn the light on for them? And to go out and tell someone, look, you're a bad person because you eat meat, is wrong. I have no moral right to tell you what you can and you can't do. It's a person has to make that connection themselves, and that connection will come by them actually realising that that is a sentient being that they're eating. It has feelings, just like you and I have feelings. And so if a person can awaken that themselves, then they'll make the change, not me. Now, the sow stall campaign isn't about people stop eating meat. It's about affording sentient animals a better method of treatment.
So can you tell me then, what are some of the problems with the way that sows are kept at the moment in Australia?
What a sow stall is, it's a metal-sided cage. It's about 2 metres long by about 0.6 metres wide, so it's just bigger dimensions than the pig. She can perhaps take a step forward, perhaps take a step back. When she lies down, her legs protrude into the cage next to her, so the cage mates will lay on one another. It's a concrete floor. Now, the anatomy of a pig is that it's a hard-hooved animal around the edge, but the actual underpad is quite soft on their feet. So standing on this concrete 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for could be up to the entire gestation period, which is 16 weeks, is going to cause problems, physical problems for these pigs. They also get psychological problems being trapped in there. When they actually initially go in these cages, they basically go mad. They don't know what's happening to them. They can't reason that humans are putting them there. So they have all these problems that they develop, what we call stereotypies, which is in order to cope with this environment. It may be just barren staring into the air. It may be swaying their head. All these coping mechanisms that they develop. They develop respiratory problems, being confined. They're an animal that's fairly low to the ground, so they inhale the urine and the feces smell all the time, so that causes problems. They get cardiovascular problems. They can't move around. The list goes on and on and on. And this is only so people can eat pig meat.
What other alternatives are there for Australia's 400,000, I think it is, sows?
Okay, well, the reality is it's not going to go vegetarian or vegan tomorrow, so we've got to sort of try and make a compromise. And that would be like we have an eco shelter where a pig can free range in the outdoor area. It loves to go on straw, it can make a nest. It's a natural instinct of a pig, especially when she's due to have her piglets. She'll like to make a nest that she can have these piglets in, a shelter where they can actually feel the sunshine and the rain and those sorts of things. To a pig in a sow stall, the only time they'll get to experience those things is their journey to the slaughterhouse when the commercial life is end, and that's a pretty sad reward for her efforts.
People who are concerned about the way the pigs are treated, what can they do to help the situation for them?
That's something that each individual has to take and deal with themselves. You've got to work out what is morally comfortable for you. Don't do something that you're not comfortable with. Listen to your conscience and it will be your guide. It may say, hey, maybe we go for free range pork. Maybe we don't have pork at all. So please deal with it yourself, work out what you are really comfortable with, work out what's on your plate and how it got to your plate, and can you live with that.
James Cromwell, most people will know as Farmer Hoggett from the movie Babe. Could you tell me about his involvement in the campaign, please?
James was just an absolute legend. When he came out to Australia, we were told that he was involved in animal rights and was willing to help us on this campaign. And I thought, oh yeah, look, this is good. A Hollywood actor, he was in Babe and he'll come and say a few cutesy things about pigs and let's give him a better deal. I thought that was okay. Then when I met James, he just blew me away. The first thing I found out, he was a vegan. And so I thought he's a great guy. And his compassion and his enthusiasm to campaign for animal rights is just phenomenal. Having him on board was fantastic because it gets a media attention, and he brought on Australian actors. When Rebecca Gibney saw our film of the inside of a sale store, she was just horrified. She had tears in her eyes. This is outrageous. This can't be happening in Australia. Whenever she meets people, she tells them about sale stores. So it's a chain reaction, and that all started with James.
And when James was here, I believe we had a bit of a stand-in for Babe, Edgar the pig.
I didn't know too much about pigs. Edgar was rescued, and the day before we were to do this interview with this journalist, and I brought him home, and I was just excited, terrified, overjoyed, ecstatic. What was everyone going to say? I brought this stinky little pig home, and I said to my mum, we've got to get this pig cleaned for tomorrow. She said, how do you clean a pig? I said, I don't know. Here we were in the kitchen trying to clean this pig, and he stunk. He was covered in excrement, and he didn't like us. I mean, he just thought we were another form of animal abuse. It took him a while to come around, and I think now he knows we're the good guys. Because Edgar actually still lives with me today, and Edgar will live with me to the day he departs this earth. He's the greatest pig I've ever met.
A lot of people associate pigs with greedy, fat, horrible animals. What would you say to that?
They haven't met Edgar Allan Pig. One of the first times when I had him down the house there's a little dog you'll meet later, E.T. They're about this size when they came, and E.T. had a little basket by the fire, and Edgar was there, and he had a little mat, and Edgar didn't reckon that was fair, so Edgar got one of the cat baskets in his mouth, and he dragged it over to the fire and hopped it in himself. And you look at them and you think, why is one friend and one food? And that's what my campaign in life now is about, to say they're both friends.
Well, I've got to say, Helen, that's fantastic work, and it's really good and encouraging, isn't it, to see some positive spin-off coming out of what's really an appalling situation for pigs.
And it was lovely to meet Edgar, it really was.
How about that pig? He's actually sat on the steps of Parliament House in Canberra, that pig, and addressed the members of Parliament.
Well, any information about the pig campaign, and you can visit savebabe.com.
Savebabe.com. Read it on the shirt, from left to right. Good on you, Helen. Well done.